I don't have a lot to say because I can't get my words together right now. But I wanted everybody to know that this is what those officers took from me. At the end of the day, they get to go home and be with their families. Gianna does not have a father.
What we just watched was George Floyd's 6-year-old daughter, Gianna, and her mother in front of cameras yesterday. Another painful reminder that not only did George Floyd lose his life, but a daughter lost a father. It's a story that many Black families are familiar with. Today, I spoke with author Lalah Delia on the toll that generational trauma can take on us and how we can face it head on. Lalah Delia, I'm so excited to talk to you today. This conversation that we're about to have, I feel like is so necessary. You're the perfect person to talk to. You're a wellness educator. And the clip we just saw is a very visceral example of the trauma that a lot of young Black boys and Black girls face in this country, having to grow up without their father. You know, we just saw George Floyd's daughter, 6-year-old Gianna, with her mother, Roxy Washington, at a press conference yesterday. The emotions running high. Can you talk to our viewers a little bit about how kids growing up without their father, Black kids growing up without their father in America is something that has followed us for generations after generation. Right. Can you explain exactly what your take is on that?
Yeah, exactly. We see the same programming played out that has played out since if we study the Willie Lynch letter, and anyone not familiar with that, I definitely would have that as homework for this discussion, because a Willie Lynch letter is very strategic on how to break up the Black community and the Black family, the Black home. And throughout history, not only on the slave plantation was the father taken away, some children taken away, but then fast forward through many times throughout our history as Black people, the Black man was taken out of the home, and that is part of our plight. All the time, all the way from slave times up until Reaganomics. A lot of people can study that in Black history. When the crack cocaine era came in, the Black man was criminalized and sent away to the penitentiary. And then since then, for every little crime he committed, and disproportionately taken out of the home as opposed to counterpart white criminals. And so we just know that there has been an agenda on the Black family. And to see that this is happening in 2020 is disheartening. People really need to pay attention and lean in, and to see that this is deeper. This is even, we already thought we couldn't go any deeper, but for people who don't know and aren't aware, there's a whole nother layer that you have to see where the Black family is under attack, and we need protection. We demand protection of our Black men, our fathers, our brothers. We need to have Black men in the home. And when we don't, it's unbalanced. The scales are unbalanced. And so we need that to change.
I totally agree with you. I keep hearing the phrase, history repeats itself. History is repeating itself. And the thought that I have is, of course, I mean, just like when you have a body that you don't heal physically or emotionally, the issues are going to keep coming back. Right now, we're seeing this country's generational trauma play out in front of our eyes. It's on display. There's no more ignoring it. I want to know, what's your take on everything that's happening, and where does the healing begin?
Yeah, the healing begins in the proper environment. Like, we Black people need the proper environment to heal in. We have not been given the proper environment to heal in. When we go to hospitals, when we go to clinics, it's all about isolating the patient, the person, in order to heal and thrive. And it's able to be palpable, and we can gauge it, we can measure it, because we're in an environment that's safe now. We can say, okay, you're healing now, take this now, we can gauge it. But if we're in the environment that's getting us sick, we're not going to heal in that. And so we need white Americans, all non-Black Americans, to hear us, to heal our pain. And people heal differently when they feel heard. we need to be heard. That's just on a basic level. And we need to know that we are safe to heal. We can open our wounds. We can let go of the shame. And there's a lot of shame that Black people carry. It's shame that white people should be feeling, but it's also shame that we carry from being treated the way we do. That's shameful for a Black man to be disrespected in front of his wife and daughter and children, for a Black man to lay in the middle of the street and be disgraced the way that George Floyd was, and all the other countless names of Black men and women who have been treated this way. It's shameful. And so we have to have a way to heal and be able to come into ourselves, come home to ourselves. I've wrote before that, in times of survival, people run so far away from them that they forget to come back home. So we're running. We need to be able to come home to ourselves, and we need to be able to be given that environment and that safe space to do so.
You mentioned that you've written about survival. I heard you speaking in one of your talks about how if you're always in survival mode, you can't heal. What is your message to young Black or young African Americans or African Americans in general who feel like they've been in survival mode all their life in this country and who are angry and who don't even want to hear anything about healing? Right now, they're just pissed.
Yeah. We have to know, be pissed. Be pissed because your emotions are sacred. That rage is sacred. That is an emotion that you've been given as a living being to process, to feel, to experience. Now, what the difference is that we can transform energy. We have to know this. And the work that I do is energy and vibration, healing, spirituality. We can transform what we feel. It does not have to stay the same. And that's how energy moves. It transforms, it becomes other things. So we don't always have to be this. Our story doesn't have to continue where it's been continuing. It can move on. It can transform. Our healing can transform into peace. We've seen this in great teachers. We've seen this in the lives of people who have overcome many things. And each Black person, you have already overcome so much more than you probably give yourself credit for. And sometimes we're, again, running so far on survival mode that we don't realize, wow, I've overcome so much just being a Black person, just being a single mom, just being a dad out here trying to make ends meet for my family, being a woman trying to make it in my career and have equal pay. Like, there's so many ways that we have overcome and not broken as a people. But my message is that the breakdown is always the breakthrough if we allow it. And that's where we can take our pain, put it in a safe container that's called healing, have community around this healing, create the proper environment, even for ourselves. If nobody else wants to give it to us, let's create that for ourselves and let's heal from there. Let's transform what we're feeling. And that's what energy is. And it's so important to, move the energy out as a young person, be active, take cues from children. Children are always moving and jumping around, and they stay light. They don't hold on to things. And that's their energy is able to move around in their body. But when we move energy around versus it staying stagnant, that really helps us move and, doing calming exercises like breathing, breath work, meditation, things that we can tune out all of the distractions that, again, are programmed to keep us in a state of just distraction. We can access our parasympathetic nervous system, which means it's calming us. It's working for us. We're able to access endorphins. We're able to access peaceful thoughts, stronger thoughts, and higher thoughts that help us create higher solutions for ourselves. So that's the main thing, is being present, being very in control of your attention, your focus, taking time out when you need to, and knowing that energy can transform. And if we transform it into a solution, that's going to be the most powerful thing we can choose to do to take our power back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all are in this state of change, and change is so uncomfortable, but particularly for our friends of fairer skin, what is your advice to them on how to face the uncomfortability they're feeling head on and make use of it?
Yeah, I feel it. There's no way out but through. So you have to feel it. You can't run from it anymore. And there's nowhere to run. That literally at the time where there's nowhere to run, everywhere you turn, it's there. And this whole pandemic has put everybody on such a more even level. Everyone is at home. A lot of people have, a lot of things have been taken away, and the world is feeling how, how we feel, how a
Yeah.
lot of us have felt, people of color have felt. And so this is a very sensitive time for this to come about. The pandemic is allowing us the space, it's creating the environment. So whatever the cause of this pandemic was, it
Mm,
created a proper environment for us to begin to heal, to be heard, and to be
right.
seen. So
Right.
I say that let's not let any death, any anger be in vain. Let's
Mhm.
do the work. Now is the time. There's nowhere
Yeah.
to run. Face yourself, face your past, make peace with your ancestors. Let your life be the redemption of your ancestors, and just know how close you still are to all the wrongs that they did. Get that
Mm,
right. But there's still, there's people who own slaves. Like, if they're, for their children to still be alive, like, we're really close. You know
right.
what I mean? And for people who lived in the pro era to still be alive, we're
Right.
really close. So
Right.
we're not that far away. And so we can't run, and we have to take
Right.
accountability, stay accountable for your actions, for your biases, and let's
Mhm.
do the work. Let's go.
Yeah. I think you make a really good point because a lot of people, the gist I get from a lot of people is that, we're in 2020. We expected to not even have to deal with something like this again, right? But to your point that you just made, some people's great grandfathers own slave masters and their own slaves, and they're still alive.
Yeah.
My dad marched with
Yeah.
Martin Luther King. His dad was a sharecropper. So we're not too far away from the issue. And when it comes to human beings healing, like, we're complicated people, we're complicated beings. It doesn't happen like that. So
Right.
what is your take on how to be patient as we progress?
Yeah. That is going to take time. It got us time to get here. And patience is, I've said this in my writing just recently, that being patient is also how we take our power back. When you're patient, you're able to, again, strategize, plan, mobilize, and you're able to create better solutions that are more sustainable. And we don't mean be patient with what we're demanding and asking
Mhm.
for, but we do say be patient with ourselves,
Yeah.
give ourselves time to really look at what's happening. And it takes time to process even what we're experiencing as
Mhm.
young people, as middle-aged people, as elders, because this is a different time. We have internet now, so we're now visually taking in the trauma. This is something that a lot of Black people were never exposed to. It was white Americans who chose to be present at lynchings who would see this type of thing. And we, some of the community would see it in passing, but now to have masses seeing what's known as modern day lynching, this is
Right.
traumatic trauma. So we have to even sit with that to know that we're planning and strategizing with our trauma in tote, with our feelings in tote,
Mhm.
and to give ourselves a little extra time to know what that is. And an important thing is that Angela Davis, Ruby Sales, and Erica Huggins, all these sisters who fought in the civil rights and the Black liberation movement, they have all shared that they would have not dismantled as easy, or they would have gone even further had they had self-care during that time. They
Wow.
burnt out. They burnt out.
Mm.
We are
Wow.
blessed, and we have self-care now. So we need to take time even to integrate that into the movement.
Wow. That gives me chills because it just seems like right now is the perfect time for change.
Yeah.
We have self-care, right? We have social media and cell phones to document these modern day lynchings. It's like everything has added up for this to be the time to awaken everyone for people to wake up to this issue.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
What's your advice for, like, you're the high vibing queen, right? You know that. You're all about high vibes. I'm not gonna lie. This week has been really heavy and it's been hard to keep my vibes high. And I'm pretty sure it's that way for a lot of people watching. What's your
Yeah.
advice on how to keep our vibes high and how to stay fueled during times like this?
Yeah. I would say definitely to remember that the wellness journey and goals that you're on, it doesn't have to look like it's perfect. And, a lot of times everything has to feel perfect, look perfect to know that
Yeah.
we're on time doing the right thing, making the right decisions. But learning and growth is part of the process. Just like we're taking care of a plant, we learn how much water it needs, how much sunlight it needs. It's all experimental. So we have to learn that with ourselves. We didn't enter this planet with instruction book. Our vibration can lead us, right? Our vibration is what's here to guide us. And if we can tap into our vibration, our energy, how we feel, how things around us, the communication between us and them makes us feel, then we know like what we need to move towards and what we need to move away from. And that's whether it's food, whether it's exercise, whether it's content, whether it's whatever it is, a certain relationship, but it guides us. And so I think at the time like this, the best thing we can do is to take care of our vibration, take care of ourselves energetically, and rest, get proper rest, move the body again to make sure that you're circulating your energy around. If we're stagnant for too long, we start feeling maybe irritable, maybe moody,
Yes.
maybe a lot of brain fog. So we have to be able to take a pause and break, sometimes even from the movement, and to know that that's okay to go find joy. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to go seek affection and love, and to really fully experience the fullness of who we are on a sensory level, as well as just the anger and the pain. But let's balance it, because all of that, taking care of all of ourselves, makes us more efficient and powerful when we do go to the front lines and do the work.
Very great point. Lalah, I love you. You're awesome. You're awesome. You are what we need. If you're watching and you want to vibrate higher, make sure to get Lalah's book, Vibrate Higher Daily, Live Your Power. It's available now. Make sure you get that. I'm going to get it for sure. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, E.T.
One of the most powerful conversations that we can have right now. I think Lalah's voice is so necessary in this moment. Such a great talk.
We needed it.
So good.
We needed it. And I'm glad we can share that with our audience too. And, we also want to share with you guys some other resources and ways that you can support Black Lives Matter. In fact, the easiest way is probably to make sure you're following @Entertainment Tonight on Instagram. Check out this post. We shared it yesterday during Blackout Tuesday on Black businesses and brands you can support, some Black voices you should listen to and follow, and of course, places that you can donate to. Okay. On that note, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with another ET Live at Home.
Bye, guys.